Devine, humans are noisy. They thrive on chaos. They like to make things. It gives them meaning. They do it over and over and over again until they shut down. Humans are fueled by inspiration. Inspiration and something called tacos. Change makes them nervous, but embracing it changes everything. Yeah, imagine that.
You are now streaming Smacking Off the podcast. You can keep up with our current activity on Facebook at Smacking Off or Smackologists. Find us on YouTube at Smacking Off the podcast. And stay right where you are. More Smacking Off the podcast is headed your way.
Hey, this is Kyle Golick of the Smacking Off the podcast. I'm at the Basketball Hall of Fame. You don't need to come to Springfield, Massachusetts. We got our own Hall of Fame analyst in Dr. Balls.
Dr. Balls is a presentation of Smacking Off the podcast.
Dr. Balls, the state of college hoops.
What's up?
How's everybody doing?
Living the dream. How y'all doing?
Where are you?
I'm in an undisclosed location. I'm in jail, actually.
You sound very far away from your mic.
Well, yeah, because I'm doing something different. I had to do this from my phone tonight.
Okay.
I'm doing something in the room. And also, too, I actually just woke up from a long nap about 10 minutes ago.
Long naps are important. I really enjoy them.
Especially when you get to, the man of a certain age place that we're all at on this spot. I mean, we're all men here, like grown-ass men with gray hairs and bills and shit. So naps are good. Naps are a good thing.
Well, so as far as the intro goes, I just went straight for the balls.
Yeah, because it's all balls.
It's all balls from here, yes.
Yeah, it's all balls. Speaking of balls, you want to talk about Bruce Pearl and his Auburn Tigers? Or are we going to save that for later in the broadcast? Or
man, you might as well go and talk about it because Alabama just shit the fucking bed.
They did. Georgia definitely went a lot further in the tournament than people expected, and gave everybody a pretty good hope that they were going to knock Auburn off. But this was Auburn's tournament, to be sure. Auburn played really, really good. Dr. Balls.
Yeah, Auburn's smoking hot, and they beat a determined Georgia team, and it was pretty impressive performance. But I was shocked that I didn't feel that their seed reflected that. I felt at the end of the year they were a better team than Kentucky and Tennessee both, and they probably should have got a better seed, but they had they had a 3 seed, the same as Kentucky, and Tennessee had a 2 seed. I just didn't feel that was right. I feel
Auburn's a 4 seed.
Oh, yeah, Auburn's a 4 seed. They had a lower seed than Kentucky, and I felt that Auburn was playing better than Kentucky, even though Kentucky smoked them utterly. But I just felt they was playing better than a lot of the teams that was seated ahead of them.
Man, I kind of detached from the standings once Alabama just completely blew it. I kept watching Alabama, but I wasn't. I mean, I knew Alabama went from number 1 in the conference to like number 5 in just a couple games. Who won the regular season championship?
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
But they got seeded second.
Second in the tournament, they're a 2 seed, so they're the same bracket as Purdue.
Okay, sorry,
that's real interesting.
Y'all wasn't talking about the SEC tournament.
No, I'm talking about the big bracket.
Tennessee was on track to be a 1 seed in the tournament before Mississippi State whacked them.
And the
Yeah.
week before, Kentucky beat them
A
as
completely
well.
inferior. And then look, Mississippi State's played some good ball this year, but I mean that was a very lopsided defeat.
Yeah, it was.
Which I'm sure if this was a 73-72 contest, their seeding would have been a little bit different. But yeah, they were embarrassed by an inferior Mississippi State team. Let's be honest.
I agree.
Well,
They should have had a better showing of that. In my opinion, Connect is a hell of a player, but I mean, one man. I mean, he scored a lot of points, but one man couldn't do it. He didn't have enough support.
So let's go completely way too early, and let's ask the question: who goes further in the tournament, Tennessee or Auburn?
I say Auburn.
They're definitely on a hot streak right now. Do you think they can keep it?
If they win, I think they can win 4 games in a row, which would put them into the final weekend. And I think they go to the Elite Eight, but I don't think they go to the Final Four.
It's very difficult to predict how teams that get hot and win their conference tournaments are going to do because they might have expended too much energy. It's a crapshoot.
Well,
Yeah, I agree. I
it's
agree with
not
that.
like
Ed.
it's not like the big dance starts tomorrow. They are going to have to get a little chance to catch their breath before the big game.
But they
And
might
more
not be hot
importantly,
anymore.
I would.
Go ahead.
I think Tennessee's draw is favorable. I think Tennessee will likely go further than Auburn. I mean, Auburn's staring down, the defending national champion in the Sweet 16 round if they get there. So
They're Auburn might be one of the few teams that can put the clamps on UConn, though.
I don't think they can score enough to beat UConn, to be honest with you.
Yeah, whereas Tennessee and Purdue is a matchup that's very interesting and stylistically is somewhat similar.
I
Even
think
though
Tennessee could beat Purdue.
Yep.
yes, absolutely. But you also have Kansas and South Carolina in that bracket, who I feel could give Tennessee. Either one could give Tennessee problems, and that's. But really, it's they. I think Purdue is. I think Tennessee's got better guards than Purdue. If they make it to the end of it, I think Tennessee can go to the Final Four.
Well, man, South Carolina got a brutal draw in the opening round.
Oh yeah, but it wasn't the worst draw of the tournament. Does anybody? What do y'all think is the worst draw of the whole tournament?
I think UConn got a bad draw having Illinois, Auburn, and Iowa State in their bracket.
Well, as far as the opening round draw, I think the worst draw of all is Wisconsin and James Madison, and James Madison's going to smoke Wisconsin.
Yeah. Probably. I would agree with that. I would also say Clemson, a 6 seed, getting New Mexico, who's on a heater. As the 11th seed Clemson could be in for a rude awakening there. And then
College of Charleston and Alabama is an underrated game. College of Charleston is a better program. A lot of people that was better under Coach Crest, but the coach there's a Coach Crest disciple. He's pretty good. I think Alabama's going to hit their shots against College of Charleston because they like an up-tempo game.
Yeah, it's well, both teams like to play up tempo. To me, it's going to depend on if who's hitting their shots. If Alabama can hit their shots from 3, they should beat Charleston.
Yeah,
be a good one to watch, though.
Yeah. I met Coach Crest once, and he was a good guy. And I played around in the gym down there at College of Charleston, and they let me hang out, so I'm a little partial to
it. Shannon, I just want to let you know that Ed's scouting our coach. That's why he said it's going to be interesting.
He is.
No, he's not coming to Ann Arbor now.
One interesting matchup: UConn versus Stetson. Stetson's a little tiny college down in the Orlando area, down there in Central Florida.
It's a dry town.
The Hatters
has a kick-ass radio station.
Oh well, yeah.
So we had them in our teams when we talked about from the smaller AQ automatic qualifying conferences. We had them as a potential Atlantic Sun champion, and they pulled through.
Well, DeLand, Florida, where Stetson is a dry town, which is why I did not go to school there, even though I got in.
Yeah, it's right beside of Daytona, though.
What?
It is. It is right next to Daytona. Daytona is definitely much more of a party-friendly situation, but you got to be careful when you drive back home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cops are bad out that way.
Now, what's interesting to me, one of the teams that a lot of people were high on this year, Indiana State, had a total collapse at the end of the season and didn't make the tournament, even though I thought they might have should have. And Chad Brown, I'm giving a shout out to him, was disappointed. He says he's not going to watch college basketball more because Indiana State didn't make it.
An interesting has Grand Canyon. Have they ever fielded a team in the NCAA tournament? I didn't know Grand Canyon.
3 out of 4 years.
Yeah.
Really?
Now, granted, they play in a fairly easy conference in the WAC, but they've been kind of dominating over the last few years in that conference.
They can give Gonzaga some trouble.
Now, is this a college at the Grand Canyon?
No, it's near Phoenix. It's a Christian university that is actually not right next to the Grand Canyon.
So I think that, and they're a Christian university, I think that's kind of false advertising, don't you? Because if I was going to go to school there, that would be the only draw. Well, shit. I mean, doesn't sound that great, but at least it's next to the Grand Canyon. I can open the window up and look at the Grand Canyon. I'll be practicing right next to the Grand Canyon, or even down in the Grand Canyon. And then you get to school there and you find out it's like 40 miles away. That's horseshit.
Yeah, 40 miles ain't nothing out west, though, man.
I wonder how much NIL money they have.
As much
They're sort of like the college basketball version of what Liberty is in football.
So there is some NIL money there then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Liberty's got some NIL money. And we all know
there has to be some, or they wouldn't be any good.
Yeah, Christians are loaded.
Hell yeah.
I mean, they don't have Mormon money, but they do
okay. What do y'all think about Morehead State made the tournament, even though the OVC was looking good for Eastern Kentucky? Morehead State, the actual Eastern Kentucky University, made the tournament. It's going to play Illinois. So good luck to them, but I think Illinois is probably going to crash them. But
about my Blazers. Go Blazers. Got an opening with San Diego State. That's going to be a tough game for them.
I think that's an even matchup. Even though
UAB has played some really good ball down the stretch.
San Diego State, the national runner-up from last year.
Hell yeah.
Brian Dutcher's got a heck of a program.
Got outplayed by New Mexico, though.
Yeah. No, well, Richard Pitino told those guys you basically have to win that conference tournament to make it in, I think, from where they were at when that conference tournament started. And then for UAB to get in, they had to basically win that conference tournament because we kind of knew FAU was going to get in from that conference. And then the other two rumor, was Memphis and South Florida. So, yeah, for UAB to get in, they had to win that tournament, and they certainly did. And
South Florida's in, aren't they?
What's that?
South Florida got in, didn't they?
Did they make it in? I didn't see it. Let me look here.
I'm looking at it too.
I'm not seeing the Bulls.
I don't see them.
No, I don't think they made it.
Wow, because they were good.
Yeah, I mean that's where that one of the committee guys had come out and said this week was a perfect storm of upsets and bubble bursters.
Yeah, there were five bid thieves.
5 bids, right? Yeah, 5 bids stolen. Yeah, and the most he said
out of all of these matchups we're looking at, who's your bracket roster? Right out of the gate in the first round.
James Madison.
Story about at least a third of the brackets.
I got James Madison.
James Madison, of course, playing Wisconsin Friday at 9:40.
Yes. But he's going on. He's about San Diego State. They're very interested to me. I mean, if they got hot, their style obviously could take them a long way. UAB and San Diego State. I think the winner of that one, either one of them, could fight Auburn to a good game in the next round.
I think McNeese State will give Gonzaga some trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if McNeese State knocks off Gonzaga.
I thought Grand Canyon was playing Gonzaga. Am I wrong?
No,
You
it's
are
St.
wrong.
Mary's. St. Mary's is playing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right conference, wrong team.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey guys, y'all take a break for about 2 minutes. Sorry, take a nap, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Find us on the web at snackology.42web.io. There you can find our latest episode, or you can support the podcast by following our affiliate links at the top of the page. You can even buy some awesome Smacking Off merchandise. Again, that is snackology.42web.io.
We're here at Commonwealth Stadium, representing for the Kentucky Wildcats, right against the Georgia Bulldogs, right? And I'm live here, and there's fun and excitement going on. I know you can see that. This is Smacking Off, the podcast.
Hi, we're Fiverr, a global marketplace connecting individuals and businesses with freelancers offering thousands of digital services. Graphic design, web development, video editing, e-commerce marketing. You name it, there's a professional freelancer ready to make it happen. Filter your search by the service needed, budget, timeline, and boom! Fiverr provides a list of talented freelancers to meet your specific needs. Always know what you'll pay up front. No hourly rates, just project-based pricing. And because payment isn't released until you approve the work, you can rest assured that you'll be satisfied with the quality and get exactly what you want. Our support team is always available to answer questions or offer assistance when you need it. With the whole world of freelance talent at your fingertips, what might you achieve? Join today and find out. Fiverr. It starts here.
Now, guys, one quick question out of the first one outs, the first four, I should say. Where do you see the drama there as far as the matchups? We got Wagner versus Howard, Colorado State versus Virginia, Grambling versus Montana State, and of course Colorado versus Boise State.
I like Virginia and Colorado State is an interesting game.
I think that'll be a very interesting game. Those are two different styles of play, so that'll be very exciting.
I think Virginia probably slow them down.
Oh yeah, but they got to execute. That's the problem with Virginia is yes they can slow you down and yes they can play good defense, but can they score? And the games where they haven't done well and the seasons where they haven't done well are the ones where they were unable to score in critical situations. So that's why it's hard to root for them. But on the other hand, if they control the tempo of the game, the Colorado State will be frustrated. That's what happens to teams against Virginia; they get frustrated.
I think. It's not a first four, but I was thinking Michigan State, Mississippi State. That could be a hell of a game.
Oh yeah,
8 versus 9 matchup, and that is going to be a very good game.
I'm pulling for Mississippi State hard.
Talk about the tournament committee giving a favor to the Big Ten and Tom Izzo, a 19-14 squad in the tournament. Yeah, that's yucky. That's the one team I see in the field that I go, there's some other teams that I think were probably more deserving than them to get that bid.
As a 9 seed, no less.
I have to agree with that. I'm like Indiana State, even probably, So, but it's what it is. Then you get a pass when you've won national championships, when you got a big name, when you've got a great program, it can serve you well.
Big alumni base, so that's a lot of eyeballs on television sets.
Oh yeah,
because we know part of this is you got to have marquee brands for the television ratings. So obviously a Michigan State's going to draw more eyeballs than in Indiana State, which is unfortunate.
Yes, I agree with that. But there's so many matchups here, and they'll probably be quickly out of the tournament that are great. And like you said, they'll draw a few eyeballs to their game, but in the end, I don't believe it's going to matter. I think they're going to get stuck,
If they get by Mississippi State, that's a I would not just pencil in Michigan State to beat Mississippi State in that game. I think it'll be down to the wire between the two of them. But either one gets probably North Carolina, 2 days later. So either one could be going home quickly.
Yeah, and Carolina's a very experienced team, and they played well at the end of the season. They were truly tested. They played a tough schedule. They took on all comers like North Carolina should. And so, if you see 7 losses beside their name, there were 7 good losses to teams like Kentucky, right? And so Carolina's well battle tested, seasoned, and veteran, and that's important in the tournament where every possession counts.
I would give Mississippi State a legitimate shot against Carolina because they've got the athletes.
They do. Yeah, absolutely.
And Michigan State does not. That doesn't mean Michigan State might not get by Mississippi State, but if Michigan State plays Carolina, I don't think that's a close game.
Well,
right.
McCott is such a tough player inside. I believe he can draw a lot of attention and keep Mississippi State in foul trouble. And their problem throughout the years has been depth. And then when the second team comes in, then they don't really have any answers for people like McCott. As long as they can keep the first team on the floor and out of foul trouble, I believe they can match up with a lot of great teams.
Yeah, speaking of Bob's point, you talk about North Carolina. They only have 2 losses to non-tournament teams, and that's Georgia Tech and Syracuse.
Conference rivals. They've played for
those are conference, right? They're conference rivals. And then had it not been in the ACC championship game, you would probably argue North Carolina State was not going to make it in, but they stole the automatic bid, winning 5 games in 5 days. How incredible is that?
Yeah, if they had lost, they would have 15 losses and probably would not have made it.
Right.
No, there's no way they'd have made it. I think that's interesting.
They were I think the lowest. They were a 10 seed in their own conference, the lowest to ever win that conference's tournament.
What a conference too! I mean, and even Duke. I was critical of Duke earlier in the year, but I've got to give Coach Shire credit. It was a good-looking team at the end, even though they didn't win the conference. Duke was much improved. So
we didn't think the Pac-12 at one point was going to get more than 2 in. I think they ended up getting 4 in their last swan song as a conference,
which is good. And the Oregon was one of the teams that got in, and I watched them earlier in the year. I didn't see Oregon at the end of the year, but I watched them earlier in the year, and I thought they were interested. So South Carolina's an up and down Jekyll and Hyde team. If South Carolina plays to their strengths, they should beat them. But Oregon was quirky. They had their guards had keys to them that I don't believe South Carolina's seen. So that might be an interesting game. So basically,
I think if South Carolina gets hot shooting the ball, it could be rough for Oregon.
Oh yeah, but the Oregon is a different style than I think South Carolina's seen. So that'll be an interesting game. Be fun to watch. Now Creighton and Akron, right now Akron won a pretty tough MAC this year, and Creighton had a earlier exit than we would have liked in their conference tournament, but Creighton's still a good team. And if you look at how the bracket works out, Creighton has a decent path.
So you'd get the winner of South Carolina, Oregon.
Yes, so you get the winner of that. If
that's winnable.
You can beat Tennessee. You can beat Texas. On their
I think
side,
Creighton could beat Texas. I don't know about Tennessee. I think if Tennessee plays their A game and Creighton plays their A game, I still think Tennessee probably wins that game.
I believe they can defend Connect, though.
I don't know if we could score. I mean, Tennessee's very athletic, very long. Teams like that give us problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I just hope we get past Akron after embarrassment that was Thursday. Losing to Providence. Shooting below 20%. You live by the three, you die by the three, and
Who could have predicted that, though? I mean, you'd have thought that Creighton was a great shooting team, a really good shooting team, and would have shot in the high 30s, 40s at the least, and won a tough game at the worst. I didn't expect it all.
I wouldn't have, other than it was at Madison Square Garden, where it's like we're cursed in that building. So
evidently.
Well, the other great story today was out of the Atlantic 10 conference, the Duquesne Dukes, man. First time in 47 years they're going to the dance.
That's amazing. Duquesne's one of them teams, when you look at the bottom line during the local news, you see they lost to Webster like by 60-47, right? And now they're in the tournament. Now, when I was a teenager, Duquesne, I remember them being in the tournament back then. So I guess I wasn't no teenager. I guess it was longer than that. So I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, they were very happy for that program. And really, the city of Pittsburgh needed it, since I think they're going to be the
had
only.
a pretty solid year.
Yeah, but they weren't one of the ones that were projected to go from that conference.
Correct.
Right.
So as we look at it, VCU, Richmond, and Loyola did not get in from that conference. I think it's only Duquesne and Dayton, right? Or did VCU sneak in and I missed them?
I have not seen it, but I know that Dayton's in.
I know Dayton's in, Duquesne's in. I'm trying to see any other Atlantic 10 teams, which is interesting because they were ranked, I think, the eighth best conference in the country, and to only get two teams in, very shocking, to say the least.
Absolutely. The A10's been a tough league over the years, and they've gotten 3 and 4 teams in before. So,
and then you look at the Mountain West Conference got 6 schools in? Is that their record?
It has to be.
That's incredible for them, and that's been we were on that early this year as a show, talking about how good that league was coming out of Thanksgiving and those tournaments.
I think Gonzaga pulled the whole conference up with them. Right. The other teams didn't want to be beat on, and they worked their ass off to compete and for recruits and so forth. And the success of Gonzaga has inspired the other schools to fight for their place.
I think you mean San Diego State.
Yeah,
because Gonzaga's in the WCC, and
my bad, WCC. But like you said, they went to the championship game, to the finals, and that could pull a whole conference up.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you got Utah State, Boise State, New Mexico, San Diego State, Nevada, and Colorado State all in. In a really competitive league this year.
Now, how many do you think will get past the first round?
Oof.
2.
Maybe 2 or 3.
If 2 get past the first round, that is interesting. That's why we love the tournament, because then that opens up possibilities for big upsets. Right, the first week.
I personally think Colorado State in that first 4 will beat Virginia. I don't like the style of play Virginia has for the tournament. They struggle to score baskets for long periods of time.
They can't wear nobody down because of the way the tournament works. So here's why you're right about that. So, like you said, they struggle to make baskets, and then you got a timeout every time you turn around. So they can't wear the other team down. They can't tire them out because there's too many TV timeouts.
Right.
And if you don't score coming in or going out of the 4-minute timeout, then basically you don't have any momentum.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to where they're gonna get points, during this tournament. So we know they can play defense, but will they be able to score enough points? If they get by Colorado State, though, you have an interesting matchup. That would be very interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I think probably 2 or 3. I think San Diego State will beat UAB, so that's 1. Trying to see, I guess like I said, I like New Mexico to knock off Clemson. So that'd be 2. And then I think Nevada will probably beat Dayton.
Yeah, that might be interesting though. It might be a fun game. And they now Arizona as a 2 seed, I guess they deserve that. So the Pac-12 got a 2 seed out of their last hurrah, but I'd love to see Long Beach State beat them. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I don't think Long Beach State will beat them, but that would be incredible. And it wouldn't shock. Arizona's another one that seems to leave the tournament early the last few years.
Well,
yes.
Long Beach State's playing for their coach who's already been fired.
Damn. But he's still going to coach while he's fired?
They announced the parting of the ways on Monday, and then they went out and won their tournament.
Jeez. Goodness.
Man, that's why you wait till the season is completely over before you do
that. Didn't something happen similar with Steve Fisher?
It was the other guy, right?
Yeah, the guy
Didn't Bo Schembechler say he wasn't going to have a non-Michigan man coaching a Michigan team in the tournament?
Yeah.
And then he was dead serious about that shit, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he sure was.
The guy announced where was he leaving to go?
Arizona State.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
and never did anything there.
Well, that's why I think Bobby Hurley needs to get out of Tempe. I don't think that I think he thought that would be an easy rebuild, and so far, not so much.
All right, so y'all catch a nap, and we'll be back soon.
You are now watching or listening to Smacking Off the Podcast. If you love it, tell your friends about it. If you hate it, share it with your enemies.
It was just a small gift from Mummy and Daddy. One, however, that would spark a bit of an obsession. It started out innocent enough, as these things always do, but quickly lit the fuse to something bigger. Mum and Dad encouraged other activities, but alas, had to sell things almost as fast as they bought them. Friends and family thought it was cute. It's just a bit of fun, they said. It's just a phase, they said. Well, it's all fun and games until your child is 34, still lives at home, and absolutely nothing has changed. These things should really come with a warning label. Buy, sell, eBay.
Quick question. I noticed in one of the graphics we had, there was a picture of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Anybody want to talk about how they feel about this upcoming fight, which last I heard is going to be an officially pro-sanctioned fight. This is not an exhibition.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Or at least that's what they're attempting. I don't know if the state of Nevada has granted that yet or not, but it looks to be well on its way to happening in that fashion.
Well, I think that's cool. You think Tyson? You think if you're Jake Paul, you got to think, how does I stay away from Tyson? Because no matter how old Tyson is, I still believe if he actually lands a solid punch to you, he's going to hurt you, right? So, if you're Jake Paul, you got to figure out how to stay away from that man. If Jake Paul,
how old is Jake Paul?
Jake Paul's what, like 28 or 29? There's like a 30-year age difference in the two, and
I'd say if this is a for real fight.
I mean,
I think Jake Paul wins.
Jake Paul is actually a decent fighter, but we're talking about a 30-year age.
And that is a big age difference. I think if they're fighting for real, I think that Jake Paul wins.
As technicality goes, though, we're talking about Iron Mike Tyson.
We are, but still, man, how old is Tyson now? Is he
59?
55? Is he 59?
I think he's 59. Yeah, I think he's pushing 60.
Hold on. Hey, Google.
So if you're 30,
how old is Mike Tyson?
57 years old.
57.
57. Okay.
Yeah, that is old, man. That's going to be some fucked up shit, man. I mean,
now we're not talking about an average 59-year-old man. I mean,
no, we're not. We're not. But that's still. I mean, the age difference is immense.
Yeah. So if you beat up a 60-year-old man and you're 30 years old, what does that make you, right?
I mean,
there is that aspect of it, and that has kind of plagued Paul's career, if you want to call it that, because this would probably be his very first pro sanctioned fight.
Yeah. As far as I know, they're all like made for YouTube fights, pretty much, right?
Well, I mean,
how many rounds
I've seen some of the fights, and didn't Paul fight? Was it who was the celebrity that he fought? The actual boxer that he's fought.
He fight Floyd Mayweather.
No, Floyd Mayweather was Conor McGregor.
No, I think he fought him too.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right about that, Sean. Yeah, and
those were exhibitions, though, right?
Yeah. And Floyd was definitely not boxing him in the same fashion that he would anybody else. He definitely, for lack of a better term, pulled some punches there.
And the pace of this fight will not be the same as a normal professional fight.
Well, again,
I mean, I know it won't be for Mike Tyson.
Age difference, there is.
I'm sorry.
No, they're going to take some time off.
Oh, between rounds?
During rounds.
Oh.
Oh no.
Wait. So they're gonna play. They're gonna fight for a minute, then sit down for 5 seconds, and then fight for another minute, and then they're gonna have the in between rounds.
No. They're gonna fight for a minute, and then they're gonna jump on the console, and they're gonna play Mike Tyson's Punch Out for a minute, and then go back to fighting.
I actually, believe it or not, beat that one time many years ago, and it took me a long time.
I never did. I got to Tyson a bunch of times, but I never come close to beating Tyson on that.
Actually, I could beat Tyson, but again, this was many years ago, and I had to you really have to train yourself on that game, just like boxing.
That and you got to get inside information.
It doesn't hurt.
Yep.
Oh yeah, all my Berks buddies played it like it was a tournament to see if you could get through the end,
I mean, everybody's got to remember the first time they beat the second bald bull. God.
Yeah. I think I really honestly believe next to Mike Tyson, that was probably the toughest fight.
Definitely.
The one guy, what was it, Hollywood something or another? Right.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
He was pretty tough, but nowhere near as tough as the second bald bull.
Yeah, the guy right before Tyson was pretty tough too.
But yeah, I don't know. This is a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about it. More than a few people are saying that Mike Tyson's absolutely going to murder him, and I don't see that being the case. I really don't. 20 years ago, absolutely.
Yeah, if this is a real fight and they're not just fucking around, I don't know. I don't think Tyson can I don't think it's in his mentality. He's going to come straight. If he's fighting for real, he only knows one way to fight.
Yeah,
and if he can't knock him out, then he'll probably get knocked out. Except they do take that break, so that break's going to help.
Now, what break is that? How does that work? 1 minute
on, 1 minute off.
Damn it, Jim.
Sorry, I don't know. I don't know that that's the case, but who's the one that proposed that? Shannon?
Ed.
Oh, Ed.
I didn't propose it. I just think that's.
I mean, you shared that information.
It's just an opinion that they will not make best use of their cardio.
Oh, so you're saying they'll hold each other a lot and waller all over each other in the ring and stuff like that. Kind of like Holmes.
One interesting thing
Holmes Ali too.
One interesting thing to note here is that both Paul and Tyson are actually friends in real life. I want to say that they're like neighbors and live right down the street from one another and are very familiar with each other in a personal way. So this isn't like the old Mike Tyson fights.
This is a border dispute, isn't it? Somebody's tree grew into the next guy's property.
I think that's how they started. cut that fucking tree down. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if Mike Tyson, if he licks a toad's ass before this, then all bets are off because Tyson said that puts him on another fucking level.
Yeah, it's a wild situation because it could go either way. It could go completely like he could be looking at Jake Paul as like all of the bad things, representing all the bad things about humanity. Decide to destroy all of the bad things in humanity for once and for all. He might just absolutely murder the guy.
Oh
or he could be in a fetal position in the corner crying and thinking something horrible about his mother.
I don't believe Tyson would ever do that. He may get knocked out.
Only if Robin Given.
If he licks a toad's ass, he might. You ever licked a toad's ass?
No, but I heard about it.
Another thing. That's a whole.
I listened to Mike talk about it for like an hour, and it sounded interesting.
No, they make poison darts out of them over in South America.
I mean, you can't just lick any toad's ass. I tried that and it didn't work. Alabama toads it don't work with.
So did you eat mushrooms in Okeechobee, Doug?
Yes, but I didn't really know that I was.
Oh, they tricked you.
I knew I did afterward. I was hoping I did.
Yeah, they put spore-side in the damn cow shit to stop it. We used to run around, pick them all we wanted. They were everywhere. They were gone by 10 in the morning. It was interesting as hell. So by 10 in the morning, you couldn't find a one. But up until that time, they'd be everywhere. It was special. Like Jerry's kids kind of special.
And then you'd have some farmer peeking out of his blinds watching y'all traipse through the field at 2 o'clock in the morning looking for mushrooms that won't get you high.
Absolutely. So now that you brought it up, Shannon, I got to tell you something. I'm going to tell the whole world how to find psilocybin mushrooms in Okeechobee, Florida. Exactly where to find psilocybin. So there's one farmer that's dirt poor, and there's a little community south Okeechobee on 441 called Treasure Island. And there's a little connector road between Treasure Island and this little trailer park called Brindabon Forest, right?
Yeah, I remember all that.
Yep, and there's an S curve on that road headed towards Brindabon Forest from 441 and Treasure Island, and in the middle of that S curve, on the right where there's like 3 or 4 cows are organic. I don't guess them. He don't buy feed, right? So therefore, there's no spore sides, and therefore there's mushrooms all the time. 50 years never failed.
Well, Dr. Bowles, you just put MapQuest out of business.
MapQuest. What is MapQuest? Well, you are old, Ed. We on that Google now, baby. It's all about the Google Maps and what is it? What is the one for Apple? Apple Maps.
No, I actually use Google Maps because MapQuest frequently does not provide the actual directions.
I didn't know that I had used MapQuest since 2002, back in the MySpace days.
I mean, that's back when you printed the directions.
Yeah. I printed a bunch of MapQuest directions.
I mean, that would get you killed trying to read a fucking printed direction on the way to where you're going.
Yeah, they have laws.
Well, back in the day, you could go buy a big map at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, that's
crazy. Yeah. Big laminated truckers, Atlas.
That wouldn't work now. The generation right now could never find themselves on a map.
That was my favorite part of going out of town was going to the various different rest stops in various different states on the highway and getting the different maps.
And the hotel coupons.
Oh yeah. And whatever attraction if you're going for a vacation of some sort, like to Gatlinburg or something, that have all sorts of coupons to the different
collectible, man.
Well, I wouldn't say collectible, but those maps sure were because they would definitely stay in my glove box and save my ass a time or two.
Hell yeah!
So, I know we've talked about the upset potential and things like that, but let's get down to the nitty gritty. I mean, we're just getting this thing started. Who's going to be standing with 4 teams left?
Houston and UConn. I think they'll be there. That's it's not the rest of it's not as clear to me, but I've got a lot of both those teams. I've got a lot of respect for, and Tennessee could come out of their bracket. I don't think Purdue is assured. They've won a lot of games. I just think I don't know. I don't love Purdue this year. I don't know why I'm not on them, but I think Sean's right. Tennessee can come out of that. And as far as
they scared, what gives me pause is just simply how they, how much can you expect Zach Edey to do? I mean, the other night he was the only guy in double figures for the Boilermakers. Somebody else has to really step up for Purdue, I think, for them to go to the Final Four and win the whole thing. And I was kind of surprised that they lost to Wisconsin. I thought they'd get to the Big Ten championship game and play Illinois, and Illinois beat Wisconsin earlier today. And the reason I like Illinois, and talk about a little bit of, I thought that win by Illinois might have moved them up to a 2 seed, and it didn't. But the game with Shannon on the outside, at the guard position, and then Coleman Hawkins on the inside, that Illinois team is kind of peaking at the right time, and they're fun to watch. And Wisconsin kind of finally got out of the slump we had talked about in February, and they had a nice run in their conference tournament.
Oh yeah, I like Shannon. Back to Illinois, I like Shannon. He's left-handed. I thought he kind of threw the Wisconsin guards off. He was taking them from the other direction, and they didn't respond well to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, he's a fun player to watch. He's entertaining. I mean, he made some shots that I said, how'd the ball go in? From the weird contorted position he was in. But yeah, he's special. So I think I'm in agreement with Ed's watched the most of the Big Ten this year, probably. I mean, do you have Purdue going to the Final Four?
Don't be a homer, Ed.
I'm inclined to say yes, because I think they'll pull that Virginia we lost to a 16 thing, but I don't think they'll win the whole thing.
So they do have the redemption story going that we saw Virginia kind of had a few years back, So
right.
And I want to see good things for Zach Edey's. He's been a fun guy to watch these last few years. A very dominant center. I'm gun shy on Purdue, because I picked them to go deep. The last few years, and it just doesn't work out. So I'm going to say they don't get to the Final Four.
And I like the bracket. North Carolina's in the West bracket. It's real interesting to me because I feel there's 3, maybe 4 teams that can come out of that bracket. Even though I like North Carolina and their experience and talent, they're great. They've had a good season, but Baylor's a pretty damn good team. Arizona's pretty good. I think it's gonna be real competitive. And then what if St. Mary's went to the Final Four and Gonzaga hasn't? Wouldn't that be interesting?
Well, Gonzaga's gone to the championship game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but they lost. That's right. They went to
lost to Baylor a few years ago. I mean, I would be surprised if St. Mary's made it, because just the style they play, is kind of different. But
y'all don't forget that Gonzaga won the national championship on the Tiggy Doms. They won the Tiggy Doms trophy in 2020.
That's true.
Tiggy Doms proclaimed them national champs the year when they just stopped playing and nothing happened.
No tournament, right? Yeah.
There was nothing, right?
But
Tiggy did the calculations, and he said they definitely would have won it had there been a tournament. So he went ahead and declared them national champs.
Yeah, they was getting ready to start the SEC tournament, and they called the rest of the season off. I do remember that.
God, that was a weird time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was the day that Rudy Gobert tested positive, changed the world.
Oh yeah. But
I think I agree with Ed, or excuse me, Bob. When I like Houston and UConn. I think that kind of beat down Iowa State put on Houston the other day will refocus them. They'll be ready to go.
It's also an indicator, though, they might not have what it takes. They're not healthy.
Who'd they lose? Yeah. Who's out for them?
They've got some depth players out.
Okay. That's interesting. I think it would be good for, this year, because last year I think the hubbub was about not enough big names, at the end, other than UConn. UConn, obviously, they're a big brand, but you had smaller brands there at the end, and I think that this year we're going to see kind of a correction in that. I think you'll see some big names there at the end.
Yeah, you're right, because all the brackets work out that way. Even if Houston falls off due to lack of depth, you still got Marquette in that bracket that's tough, right? And they're a pretty good name. And
I think I saw Shaka Smart in one of these interviews after the brackets where I think he said that Tyler Kolek will be suited up and ready to go for their first game this week.
damn.
And that's a big addition for Marquette. I mean, Marquette hung with UConn basically till about 7 minutes left in that game, and then UConn kind of pulled away from them. But
I think the Marquette will be gone this weekend.
Think so?
Yeah.
Who do you think beats Marquette?
Boise State, Florida.
You think Florida could get them? Yeah, Florida's despite losing to Auburn today, Florida they've really come on over the last. We talked about it last 3 weeks.
They've been a dick in our ass for damn sure.
Yep, they've definitely improved throughout the season, and they look pretty sharp. And they've got a chance. I don't know though. I believe Marquette, Western Kentucky's a decent team. I believe Marquette's a lot better than them. I believe Marquette's better than Florida or Boise State. So they'll at least be Sweet 16 the way I see it. Now you could have an interesting matchup in the Sweet 16 with Kentucky and Marquette, and Marquette may be the only team that Kentucky has a losing record against. So,
I have no idea. With Kentucky could go to the Final Four, or they could lose in the second round.
That's why I'm not talking about it, because I can't tell you guys what they could either be the hottest scoring team in the tournament and you can't stop it, or they can show defense where they can't protect the rim and lose to Texas A&M, right? So it's just, I mean, you got 4 7-footers and you can't protect the rim, but Texas A&M has the game plan to beat Kentucky, and the other teams are watching tape going into the tournament, and here's the game plan. The game plan.
I think you mean Texas Tech.
No, I mean Texas A&M.
Texas A&M's on the other side of that.
No, I'm talking about during the SEC tournament game.
Oh, in the SEC tournament, sure.
Texas A&M showed the blueprint on how to beat Kentucky, which is to pressure the guards on the perimeter and make them drive, because instead of scoring, they throw it back out again, even when they're not hot. And then, secondly, take it to the rim on defense over and over again. So that's the blueprint.
It's funny you mentioned Texas. Texas A&M is in probably my favorite 8-9 game. It's them against Nebraska. And the fun fact is Nebraska is the last power conference school that does not have an NCAA tournament win in its history. So
none whatsoever?
None. They got none. They've gone,
Yeah,
I think.
That's hard to fucking wrap your brain around, ain't it?
Yeah, for as many times, it's not a lot, but for the number of times they've gone, they're one and done every time so far. They have not gotten a win. So I think that'll be a really great game between Nebraska.
They got shooters.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they got some guys that when they're hot, man, they are hot.
Yep.
But Texas A&M has got the same. I think it's going to be a great game.
Oh yeah, they proved they could guard the perimeter with the best of them, and Taylor was on fire for Texas A&M against Kentucky. So, but I mean, I was shocked that UK didn't shoot better. They had a chance to get back, but I felt that Texas A&M played them how you had to beat them. But on the other hand, right, they've also showed, like you said, that's why you can't pick what UK is going to do, because when they're hot, when they get, it's possible for them to get 5 guys hot on the perimeter during the game. And now Shepard may be the number. They're predicting he may be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be a really fun first week here. There's so many intriguing matchups.
Tell me this, guys. What's the schedule like? Is Sunday a good time to do another Balls episode, or do we need to strategically do this one?
Yeah, I think we may have to move it next week, because Sunday, I think the games finish around, 11 o'clock Eastern?
No,
so
later.
Tuesdays.
They have 9:55 tips scheduled, and when you get into a bunch of fouling at the end of the game, at least one of them won't start till 10:15. It'll be 1:45 by the time they wrap it up.
I agree.
Wow.
You probably
Is there any games on Monday or Tuesday?
No.
No, Tuesday would be not probably to do it, in my opinion.
All right, we'll do it Tuesday then.
And
Y'all
then
heard it here.
And then you'd be able to look at if injuries and who won and trends and stuff like that deep going into the matchup.
Yeah, give us 48 hours to digest the Sweet 16.
Yep.
Yep. I like it.
All right, guys. Anybody got anything to add? I mean, we don't have to keep talking for 5 more minutes. All the great shit that we got to talk about is ahead of us, right?
That's right.
It's gonna be fun.
All right. Talk to y'all next Tuesday.
All righty.
Later, gents.
Later.
Good night, everyone.
Take care, fellas.
All right. Bye.